Hello, everyone. This is Z, and today I have a very special guest with me. Mr. Jordan Rudess needs no introduction from Dream Theater, and without any delay, here we are. Mr. Jordan Rudess, how are you doing?
All right, I'm doing well. I'm very pleased to be with you, Z, because I know that you'll have a great experience and do a wonderful job with whatever you do and your technology, because you know these things. So I'm here to support you, and I appreciate your supporting me to spread the word about my new album, which is coming out, and all the crazy stuff that's going on these days.
Yeah, this has been very busy year for you. There are like some you can say a very exciting news about the Dream Theater world, like Mike Portnoy joining, and then you guys back in the studio with Dream Theater, and all of a sudden now I hear that your new record is out. So what's the name of the album? Like, can you go over details, like how come up with the idea and what type of songs on that record?
Yeah, so I'm releasing this album on September 6th. It's very exciting, and a lot of energy is being spent now on just kind of like presenting it to the world and making sure all the pieces are in place to do that, including getting things like signed vinyl and stuff like that to the merch company that's going to be, getting that out the door. So a lot of good stuff is happening. And this album was a huge project. And you know as well as anybody how big these projects can be once you decide on something you want to do, and then you do step by step by step by step
Yeah.
until finally maybe you see something in your hand and you go, oh my God, I did this. So this is one of those, a big
So
one.
so the album is called Permission to Fly, right?
Yes.
And how
Yeah.
you came up with the name of it? Like, is it a song
Yeah.
title or something?
Well, you know how names are. You just keep thinking of them and writing them down. And every now and then you go, oh, that's a pretty good name. You write it down. And then when it comes time to make your product, then you go, oh, let's see what's on the list here. And so Permission to Fly was actually one of the more recent names that I had thought of. When I realized I was going to do this project, I started to come up with some names for it, and Permission to Fly was one of them. And I kind of liked the way that one sounded. And people have been asking me, oh, is that like you're giving yourself permission to like fly? And I was like, no, 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 I'm always flying. I don't have a problem with that. I'm giving permission to fly to the listener.
Yeah. So tell me about the guest involved in this project. I know there are like few well known in the industry, and then some special guests that you introduce them to the world of music.
Yeah, it's a little different than some of my other solo rock albums in that I don't have a lot of like special guests. It's more that I created kind of a core band
Core
on this
band.
album, and the band are not like, the most known characters, but they're I feel the best for what I wanted to do musically. Um, although everybody's in their own point in their career, let's say, and some
Yeah.
are, doing very well. Um, but yeah, I had some great people join me. I'm very pleased about it. And one comment that I've been getting from a lot of people is that this album sounds more like a band
Yeah.
kind of a sound than anything else that I've done in a solo way. And I love that because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it a band type of a
Yeah, I
sound.
mean, most of your solo stuff, what I've seen, like either you are singing or it's mostly instrumental. But this time, I think you introduced a vocalist who is like singing most of the songs.
Yeah. So that vocalist, his name is Joe Payne, and he goes by the name of That Joe Payne,
Mhm.
not to be confused with the Joe Payne. He is
That
That
joke.
Joe Payne, and don't anybody forget it. Um, I discovered Joe because my friend at Prague Report, Roy Avon, told me about him. And he said, oh, you might like this singer, Joe Payne. And I said, I don't know who he is. And so he introduced me and we spoke and I listened to his music. He actually used to be a singer for kind of an underground prog group that only the
Mhm.
most diehard progressive rock fans know in the UK, but they were around for a long time and they might still be around in some way, shape, or form. They're
Mhm.
called the Enid,
Enid.
Enid, the Enid. If anybody wants to go back and check out the Joe Payne Enid days.
Mhm.
But that wasn't, it didn't last too long. and Joe's been doing solo work and different things. And I found out about him through Roy, and I loved his voice. I love his voice. I think it's very beautiful, musical, kind of somewhere between like Freddie Mercury and George Michael and other sounds mixed in. But so when I spoke to him, he was really excited to do this album with me. And he was a great contributor to it because he's one of these singers that is not only, possessing a beautiful sound in his voice, but he also is very musical and he's very knowledgeable about music. So I could send him like the MIDI files and he could work with those and kind of figure out harmonies and help me to do what we needed to do. So I didn't have to spell everything out, which was great. Not only not spell everything out, but he came back and offered things. He offered his unique approach, and also he offered some cool harmonies that I would not have thought of. They were more in his wheelhouse to do. I thought that was awesome. And the more he offered, I was like, yeah, bring it on. Because I suddenly felt an expansion. Like, okay, like I do a lot of different kinds of music and a lot of sounds and a lot of things, but everybody has their limit, right? And so he was offering things that I just don't think about and I don't do. I was like, that's cool. It's making it more like a band kind of thing. So
Yeah, the
great experience.
initial reaction to me, like there was like tons of vocal harmonies in the songs that, especially Shadows of the Moon, I think is
Yes,
one of
yes,
my favorites on the record. And
sure.
Alchemist also is like, I think your first single was really good. So uh, tell me about the drummer, Darby Todd. I think he's
Sure.
well known for his Devin Townsend world.
Yeah. Yeah. For
How,
anybody who came out and saw the Dream Sonic tour with Dream Theater, you'll know that Devin Townsend opened up for us as well as Animals as leaders.
yeah.
But Devin had this great drummer with him, whose name is Darby Todd. And Darby Todd and I became fast friends. And I just thought he was a great drummer, as well as being a great guy. Good
Mhm.
combination. And so I asked him when the time came if he would be, if he would want to play drums on my album. I said, but before you say yes, know that, it's going to take some time because, it's going to be some tricky rhythms and crazy stuff, as well as more straight ahead stuff, but a lot of weird stuff. And he said to me, look, Jordan, don't worry. He said, they hire me to do the hard stuff. So, and I want to do it. So he
Yeah,
did a
and with
great,
with
great
you,
job.
I think it's always tricky.
Well,
Like
yeah, I mean,
your compositions and always it's like wizardry there. So it's
Or madness.
mad.
Yeah. So he was
Yeah.
fantastic. Both he and Joe both recorded their parts at home in their own
Mhm.
studios,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I
which
mean,
was amazing. It was
drums
amazing. Yeah.
sounded really good on the few of the songs that I've heard. It's
Yes,
like
the
well
tone,
produced. Yeah,
beautiful
tone is
tone.
like
We had
yeah.
me and Jimmy T, who engineered the album. Jimmy T, of course, from Dream Theater fame, who records all the Dream Theater
Yeah.
albums. He mixed this album, and when I
Mhm.
sent him Joe and Darby's parts and Steve Dadayan, he had no complaints. He just
Yes.
was like, "These sound great,
Sounds
sound great."
great. Yeah. So overall, like, how much time it took you, like, from the idea to the release now? How long it is the whole process was?
20 years. No, I'm kidding. Longest album
That's
process
like
ever.
my records, I think. It takes time to finish.
Yeah. Well, these things do take time, but maybe not that much time, right? A little less.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this album took, like from beginning to having it in my hands, close to a year, I guess.
Okay.
8 months, 9 months. I don't remember exactly when I started, but it was right before I recorded with uh Dream Theater that
Okay.
I went into the studio. Well, right before I went into the studio to work with them, like, full time.
Hmm.
I had a window of opportunity. I'm going in there. And it's funny, we're going to talk more about the other people who played on it, but one of the things I did on this album, which I'm proud of, but I wanted to do more of, but it didn't work out. I'll tell you why, is I played some guitar on the album. I played a few guitar solos on the album.
Wow.
And I would have played more guitar solos, but the reason I didn't was actually pretty funny, because when I finally had that window of time And I thought, okay, I'm going to go in now and I'll do some guitar and, the different stuff. I realized I forgot about one very important thing. I never recorded guitar before. I only record MIDI instruments, and recording and moving around MIDI data is much different than moving around and working with audio.
Yeah.
And so I forgot that I had to do that before I went and like could do punching in on the guitar and all this stuff. And I was under the gun because I felt like I got to get this done. I want to work on it every day. I didn't want to sit there and watch, Logic tutorials with how to work it so I could record my guitar. So I ended up just picking some spots where I could play like some cool leads and just play them as much through as I could. And that's what happened.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've been following your guitar journey, and I think you are one of the craziest player now. I think
Well, these
you want me to
that
quit guitar now. I think.
no, no, no. But you know what? I've had some great tips from a lot of my friends. It's very much a work in progress, and there's some holes in the technique, or whatever. I can do some things, but maybe not some other things. But what's funny is that like a while back, one of my friends, I think it was Paul Biotovich, who plays with Carl Palmer, he
Mhm.
introduced me to the idea of 3-octave arpeggios,
Okay.
right? The 3 notes to the left
Yeah.
and tap, 3 notes, and and I was like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. And I started this with one string, and I was like, okay, and I could do two strings and go back, and I'm trying to like think, okay, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to look at this hand or look at this one? And maybe I'll try it with my eyes closed. And, it's a whole thing as you're working out a new technique and you don't know. And so, and then I got brave more recently and I said, I can do these 3-octave ones. Why not?
Why not?
It's in the range of possible. People do it. So I was working on that the other night, right? And I'm like, and I'm trying to say, okay, well, I can make that jump. I don't have to look at that one. And then I'm thinking this fucking guitar, like every fret is a different size. So if I figure out how to do it here, when I move up, then it's not the same. You know what I mean? It's not the same distance. So it's like on the keyboard,
Yeah, you
everything
have
stays the same. All the
uh,
notes are created equal. On the guitar, everything is like shrinking or
shrinking.
growing.
Yeah.
I don't know who designed that, but that is really bizarre. And I managed to get it, as maybe you saw. And I'm like, okay, it's going. I get the feeling for tapping the notes and kind of like the move of that and this, and then I'm getting a flow. I'm working on it, and it's fun. So again, I wanted to do a few guitar solos, and I did. And then speaking of guitar, so I had my friend Steve Jadayan
Hmm.
play all the rhythm parts and join me for some wild unisons. You might have
Hmm.
seen the video of us playing the Alchemist unison together online. He's
Yeah.
playing like impossible shit, and it's like, what the hell? I wrote that as a keyboard riff. I wasn't planning necessarily on a guitarist being brave enough to do that. But Steve is an amazing dude, and he also has made my teeth look really beautiful too, because he's a dentist.
Oh.
He's a full-time dentist. He's like one of these amazing guys like you who can work and do amazing things and technology and also be a musician and a good musician. It's some people have the skill to be able to have more hours in the day to be able to do a lot of things really, really well.
Yeah,
So
so I
so
mean,
he did a great
you
job.
have a pretty good time management schedule. Like what I see, like you practice guitar, then you have a wisdom music stuff going on, and then you have dream theater stuff going on, and then you are traveling all different places as well.
It's called madness. It's called madness. It's called well, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons I can do this. One is, and then I'll tell you about the other guitarist. But the one of the reasons is because you know me. What am I doing? I'm not like golfing, or I'm not. I'm playing the piano, or I'm playing the guitar, or I'm working some crazy visual app, or
Yeah,
I'm doing something that I just love to do, and so I just
yeah.
do that, and it kind of works out. And I do have some help in the social media department as
Hmm.
well. I've got a couple of guys that I've been working with for a while. One of them is really good with doing videos, and the other one is great with schedule and posting and keeping
Hmm.
that with all the different things that I do, this informal posting that needs to happen for the products.
Hmm.
And my wife, of course, is incredible. And when she's not, busy with her youth theater. She spends a lot of time on kind of like personal management of all my career and dealing with a
Mm,
lot of stuff. Like today, she was arranging to make sure that the vinyl and the CDs and got signed and get sent to the merch guy and
mm.
T-shirts and all this stuff. So I have a very nice support system, and I had my daughter write all the lyrics.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh, wow.
and co-produced the album as well,
Nice.
which was
So
a
is it,
big
I
thing. But
think, is it the first time she involved with you in the music world
on
or?
this professional level,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we've always done things together.
Yeah.
I was teaching her how to tap in 7/8 time on the way to nursery school, basically.
Yeah. Good, good dad skills there.
Yeah, right,
So,
right. So, but I wanted to tell you about the guitarist who played on Embers.
mhm.
Embers is actually the first song that we released. I don't know if you heard that one,
Yeah,
but
I've heard that. Yeah.
Embers was released through a platform called Moises.
Hmm.
And Moises, I think you know, but for those of you who don't know what Moises is, Moises AI, it's a program that a lot of musicians are using because it does a great job of track separation. So
Hmm.
the basic idea is you can take a like an audio track or even something off your camera roll on your phone, right? And you can upload it to the Moises server. It analyzes it, and in a minute or two later, it comes back, and you can choose how you want things divided. So you could have like the vocals, the drums, the piano, the guitar, the bass, and you have a slider for each one, and it's like having access to the individual
Individual
tracks.
tracks. Yeah, I use Moises for most of my solo concerts I do for friends and
Oh,
families. What
yeah,
I do, like I import the tracks, maybe cover songs or something, and I mute the vocals and guitar parts and I play along those.
that's fantastic.
And
Yeah,
everything else is like kind of familiar for people, the instrumentation. And
yeah,
on
yeah.
the top, I can, sing and play karaoke acoustic nights
And
and
do your
something
and do your Hendrix riffs and all that stuff.
and Rick
Yeah,
Strip. So yeah, it's been amazing. And yeah, we have one
first.
yeah, guitar player.
Important musician. So this is a guy named Bastian Martinez,
Hmm.
who is a lovely young man from Chile, and he has been very influenced by people like John Petrucci and
Hmm.
the great players in the world. But I consider him like part of like the next generation of guitar players. Like when you go and you watch his like Instagram channel, he's just doing stuff, and you're going, what? That's impossible. And you're checking to see if maybe he's not a human being, or I don't know. There's something going on that's a little bit different than most people. So, but he's also very musical and plays beautifully. And I invited him to play a couple of songs. So he played on Embers, which was the first
Hmm.
track released through Moises on
Yeah.
that technology. And then he also played on one you haven't heard yet, where he's doing like some lead, but he's also doing some cool back and forth
Mm.
with me. And that song is Into the Lair.
Into the layer. Okay.
Into the Lair. You'll hear it when it comes in a couple
Yeah.
days. But so he was amazing. So that was the lineup. So I had Joe singing, Darby on drums, Steve playing all the rhythm guitars,
Guitar.
Bastian as a special guest, and I played some guitar on it as well. I also did a little bit of like keyboard kind of work on it here and there.
Here and there.
Right,
That's true.
little things. Yeah, yeah.
And mixing, mastering, um, Jimmy T was did all the mixing stuff.
Jimmy T did all the mixing, and then I sent it to be mastered by a gentleman in Europe, and that was the way that it flowed.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So, any plans for taking this band on the road or something? Like,
Yeah,
I think you have a Dream Theater stuff coming up, a very long tour, I think.
yeah,
For-
right, right, yeah.
And so
So
let's talk about some Dream Theater. Like, how's this year coming along? Like, what you guys are doing in the studio?
yeah,
Your
and
parts are done, and
then we'll talk about AI.
yeah,
We
we
don't
will
want to
talk.
forget that. Okay. So Dream Theater is doing very well. We got our old drummer back after 13 years. We've been having a very nice time together. We've all done all our parts for the new album. It's being mixed and mastered and all the things that need to happen to it now. And I will say that I'm so excited because I really feel that the fans are going to absolutely love this album. It's so good. And there's so many elements to it that are going to be like fan favorites, I think.
Okay.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Right.
It's great to have Mike back because he not only brings his, wonderful drumming with him, but he brings his, conceptual mind, which really has so much to do, with what the Dream Theater world is all about. And when people hear the album, they'll recognize that immediately. They'll go, "Oh, okay," and be reminded of some of the magic that, Mike started this band out with and what he brings to the table, which is awesome. So we're so excited to have him back and have created this album, which you'll obviously hear more about as we go on, um, as we get closer to
Yeah.
2025. But also we have this massive tour coming up, which is the reason that I won't be able to take my solo project out on the road. There's no possibility of that. We're too busy.
Hmm.
Um, but what's really exciting is we're letting Mike do the set lists again, and he does a great job because he really knows what the fans like, they want to hear. And I'm going nuts now. I'm on my keyboard like all the time when I'm not playing the guitar or working on my apps or working with AI or making crazy spacey visuals. I'm over there that way.
Yeah.
Mike Cronos doing that stuff. So we've got a great tour. It's really exciting. All the Dream Theater fans are coming out of the woodwork. A lot of people who haven't seen us in years and
Yeah.
years are coming back to see, with the core band and with everything. And we're selling a ton of tickets. We're very excited because it's we're putting so much into it, so much time and energy and passion. But also just, it's a great time for us. It's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
fun.
this is all of a sudden like this year kind of a lot of my favorite bands like Dream Theater, Opeth, and others, they are like releasing records, and I'm
Hmm.
really excited, and that's kind of fired me up as well to work on my own,
Oh, good,
finish
good.
my own projects as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mhm.
So let's talk about AI. Like we started a little bit conversation. What you think like AI is going to impact musicians or music world? Like what's
So yeah. So first, let me tell you. I don't know if you know this, but over the last year, I've done a residency at MIT.
yeah.
I've been in like kind of an artist in residence type of position with them, working on a project with some wonderful young minds who are, doing software in the AI space and music software and also visual creations.
Yeah.
So it's been an incredible learning experience for me because we're basically building what we're calling Baby Jordan, right?
Okay.
And this September, on September 21st, I have a performance at
Hmm.
MIT showing what we're doing, what we've been doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And what I went in there wanting to do was to create an AI system that would not only generate music, like most people are used to, this idea of like text to image or now text to like song, but I wanted it to be something where as it's generating, like I could play live and it would hear what I'm playing live and adjust and keep on, doing things, but then saying, oh, now he's on a D minor, so I could do this. Oh, he went to major, so I have to change there. So it's something that's very responsive. So we're developing this interactive, responsive AI, which is, I think, very different and really cool. It's based on
Yeah.
MIDI.
Wow. That's
So
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so it's really, really fun. So, and it's really, really cool. So there's that, part of what we're doing. And I'm the one who's like feeding the models. I'm actually providing all the data that
Okay.
goes to build these various models that all have their specialty in doing different things musically. So really, really exciting. At the same time, I'm very involved with Light Tricks. And
Hmm.
Light Tricks is a visual company that's been working with visual AI. They have new software called LTX Studio. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's really pretty cool. Have you seen that advertised?
I
The
think I
LTX?
saw some of the clips, but not really deep
Yeah.
into it. But
Yeah, it's really cool. It's an
and
AI system.
yeah,
The short version is you can type in a prompt and then it'll flesh out a whole story for you and give you all like the different scenes and shots each shot can then be animated. And now they even let you type in text and it'll do lip sync. The characters that you create will say the words, and
Okay.
you can upload your own face, so you can turn a character to maybe look like you or anybody, and it's really, really fun. So I've been involved with them for a while. Matter of fact, the editor that I use to do all my videos is all with Video Leap, which is a
Yeah.
Lightricks product. So that's it. And they're, very much about the AI thing.
Yeah, with video leaps and all. Yeah, I've seen that a lot. You have been doing for some time with them.
Right,
Uh,
right. And it's really fun. So I find AI to be a great, great tool. I feel a personal calling to help to guide it into ways that are really positive, to lead to, educational types of resources, or to lead to better entertainment or higher level of fun for the musician. And, what's interesting to me is, even though you and I know so well that a lot of people are pushing back on technology and saying,
mhm.
oh, it's the end of the world, it's terrible, da, da, da. These are, we constantly through our lifetime have different tools that are presented offering different capabilities. And yeah, some of them have, bad sides. AI is very powerful. It can be used in bad ways, but it also can be used in great ways.
Y-
But I
Yeah,
find that a lot of people who are complaining about it or who feel so threatened don't know a whole lot about it. That
yeah.
they're not fully informed, and it's hard to be fully informed unless you really get into it and
Get
understand
into
what it
it. Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
there is like pros and cons of technology and all. Like if we rewind maybe 20 years ago, you had limited technology with Dream Theater keyboards. You had to program it every night with different set lists. And now you
Oh,
have
right.
like
Right.
everything loaded like in a second, you know. You just boot up and it's ready
Yeah.
to go. So
No,
there
it's
are
a
like I mean a lot of things technology will bring improvement to our lives, but again, how you involve into it and how to use it positively. I mean that is the
absolutely.
way.
Yeah,
So
totally. And some people still haven't discovered that there's this amazing technology as part of the AI scene right now that is can be a bit scary, which is the whole text to song thing. I'm sure you've been reading
yeah,
about like
that's a little bit scary
Suno
to
and
me, text to song. Like
yeah, text to song like Suno or Udio, these big companies that are, or these new companies, I should say, that are doing this kind of amazing stuff where you can say, here's my lyrics, or make up lyrics about my buddy Z, whose birthday it is today, make it funny, and just say some music jokes within it, and then go and make it a pop song with a female singer, a moderate tempo. Next thing you know, it's there, and you send it. I can send it to you, and you're like, what? What is this? So that's mind blowing, and it's really mind blowing. And as threatened as people are by that, it's also brought some fun into a lot of people's lives, because all of a sudden, like, a person who's a non-musician can make a song for your birthday and send it to you, and you go, wow, and everybody's smiling.
yeah, I
My
mean
feeling, my feeling is that anytime you bring music into somebody's life, it makes it better.
makes it better. Yeah, I mean that's the perfect way to say like music makes the world better. And we are really looking forward to Dream Theater tour, and your record is coming out. Again, it's called Permission to Fly, coming out on September 6th, I
Sixth, yeah,
6th.
soon.
And uh, uh, again, very excited time for the music with AI, and looking forward to what you present on the with the MIT, how
Thanks, buddy. Yeah,
everything goes on. And
yeah.
anything you want to conclude this interview with?
Yes, I'm very excited that you're doing this, because I think it's important that somebody who's in the music space also has an open mind to technology, and is also, and also a musician and is intelligent. So I think it's nice to have somebody like you going down this path, to not only do your music and your fire garden stuff, but to also be talking to other musicians with some understanding of what they do and what they go through. And I look forward to watching your, progress with your podcast. And thanks for having me be one of the first people on it.
Yeah, thank you again for your time, and this is really helpful for me to launch this project. And I'm looking forward for your record, and hopefully we'll see you very soon on the road.
Awesome.